I've had an idea. Mob farms have been around for ages in Minecraft, and one of the most popular and effective approaches to them is the shifting floor concept. I was first introduced to this style when I saw ilmango's video on the subject. His farm is about 10 times larger than this one with 5 separate 2-part levels. So far as I can tell, there are 2 drawbacks to his design in a survival context. Firstly, it is enormous and therefore highly resource intensive. Secondly, it is distinctly a general mob farm. Let's address both of these concerns, and then I'll show you the pieces that make up this build. I recently built this farm on stream on my survival server, and when I did, I had limited resources. I couldn't afford many hundreds of pistons and observers and many thousands of trapdoors, so I made a simple 2-layer 12x12 platform. This makes up a total area of roughly one of the 2 sections on just one of the 5 layers of the larger ilmango design. But hey, numbers only matter if they're practical, so let's take a look at the rates. I've had it running for about 2 hours now, and without getting too scientific with the results, this is roughly how much rotten flesh, gunpowder, bones, and arrows I was able to get. Not bad for a small farm. Now let's address the second concern and my idea on how to fix it. Most of these farms are designed to be general mob farms, but what if you wanted to make it a creeper-only farm? Well, there's a simple fix for that. Creepers are somewhat shorter than other mobs, clocking in at just under 2 blocks tall, so if you want to make it a creeper-only farm, simply place the trapdoor on the ceiling rather than just on top of the second trapdoor. That way, when you build the walls, you can open it up like this to allow any mobs to spawn, or you can leave the trapdoor closed, in which case, only creepers will be able to fit under here. Easy. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at the different components of this build. They can be broken down into 4 different categories: sorting and storage, collections, the farm itself, and the timer. We'll start bottom up. The sorting and storage system is something that I've shown before in my videos. It's a simple tileable item sorter. You have this configuration of blocks inside of a hopper, pointing at nothing, with another hopper beneath it leading into your actual storage system. Outside the back, you have a comparator leading to 3 redstone dust, a repeater, and a redstone torch with this configuration of blocks around it, and on top you have a water stream going over your hoppers. Simple stuff. Collections is another simple concept. The idea is you just have a platform of magma blocks surrounded by glass so that mobs don't fall out. Beneath it you'll have a rail system with hopper minecarts on top of it, and I used levers to power my rails with hoppers beneath in order to grab everything out of the hopper minecarts. Easy. When we get to the actual farm, this is where things start to look a little bit more complicated, but really it's not quite that bad. So the actual farm itself is going to be made up of a platform of alternating soul sand blocks, they must be soul sand, and any solid block. This can be concrete, stone, cobblestone, whatever you have. On top of that, you are going to have your trapdoors in the configuration I told you about, one on the floor, one on the roof, and above all of that, you will have a single row of slabs on the top, or if this is a lower layer, then you'll just have your next floor. Next to your platform, you're going to have these pistons. They will be pointing in on both sides with 1 space gap on the far side. Above those pistons, you will have observers pointing forward at a section of rail going all the way across. On the left-hand side, you will have a single powered rail with an observer facing that way, with 4 more sections of powered rail in front, another observer, and the rest of the rails going all the way across. This should make up a total space of, I believe, 15 blocks. So you'll have 6 alternating sections on the platform, 1 space, and 1 on each side for a total of 15. And then the the observers will be on both sides facing the rails. So that's easy enough. You want to put slabs on top so that there is no spawnable area here. Next, we're going to get to the timer. And this is a pretty simple circuit, right? It is just, looks like 6 repeaters on full delay going around in a circle. The last one will be facing at a comparator coming from this lever, and all of them on the corners will be facing into solid blocks. Either on top of this block or next to this block, you will have a sticky piston with a observer facing into it like this. This design will push directly into, oops, let's get on the floor here, will push directly into this block over here. It should be roughly the 4th block over, but that will push into that block, and every time it pushes in, it'll send a pulse through this floor, which will cause it to shift one way and then shift the other way. This will glitch the mobs into the floor and suck them down to the killing chamber or onto the next level. Now, if you want to have multiple levels, this is where things get a little bit more tricky, and you end up with this design here. And as you can see, we have 3 layers on top of each other. The only modification you need to make is that on the bottom levels, you need 1 extra solid block out to the side with another block beneath it, and you need to come over here and grab, let's just get rid of these real quick and I can show you how to place them. If you look at your observer line, go back 3 observers, place an observer in, 2 observers down, oops, down, and 2 observers out front going into your downwards block. On the top section, you can just put a glass block here so that it's not spawnable, and more glass blocks going out the back, again to prevent spawning on those locations. What this will do is it will set a delay of exactly 7 observer ticks, going so that anytime that this is updated with our timer, it will suck things down and give them enough time to be on the next level before they're sucked down again. So let's look at that in action. I'm going to just update this observer here. There we go. That worked perfectly. Now looking at the farm again, we can see all of that in action. Take a look at the timer here. You can see that every time it pushes in, it triggers the floor, and when it pushes out, nothing will happen. But when it pushes in, it triggers over and back every single time. Over and back. I've added a door up here so that you can go in and change the trapdoors if you only want to spawn creepers. I've added that on both of my levels, as well as a tiny access elevator going over here to the on-off switch, as well as up here to the AFK platform, which I have also added way up in the sky, about 126 blocks above the bottom floor here. Where the actual farm is actually up to you, but you want to have enough height for all of the mobs to be destroyed on the bottom. In general, I would go with 50 blocks above the killing chamber. That way you have plenty of room if you ever want to add more farms beneath it. You can add pretty much as many of those as you want, and that should still function just fine. There are 2 things that I do want to mention about this farm as well. One is the roof. This is going to be all bottom slabs, and the concept is that you cover the entire floor of the farm, in my case a 12 by 12 area. You come out to the corner of the farm and go out 15 blocks in both directions, and then create a diagonal across, and do that on all the corners and just fill in all the blocks in the middle. This will create a solid dark area in the middle where no light can be, so that things can actually spawn within there. The second thing that I wanted to mention is that the specific drops you can get from this farm are as follows. Obviously, you can get your rotten flesh, your gunpowder, your bones, and your arrows. Those are going to be the big ones, so you might want to set up bulk storage for those. But the other drops you can get are going to occasionally be your silk and spider eyes if a spider somehow gets into the system. Minecraft's a weird game, it could happen. Zombie drops will be iron and carrots. And then obviously you have your witch drops, which are going to be your sticks, bottles, sugar, glowstone dust, and redstone dust. And then I have a separate box for miscellaneous items. This is also an overflow for all of the items that come in too fast from these farms, so occasionally you'll get some of that stuff in here, which is perfectly okay. So with that, that is the modifications and commentary that I wanted to make on this farm. If you want to build this in your own world, feel free to do so. If you want to come and check out what I'm doing on my world, you're welcome to join me on stream. The link is going to be in the description. But until then, thank you so much for joining, and y'all have a wonderful day.